Hey, how's it going? I've been thinking a lot lately about something, and it's too much for me to ignore. I really need to let it out, somehow. So I'm gonna do it here, and I hope you don't mind. A lot of people say that they miss being a child because things were so much simpler. And that makes sense, of course. Being a kid was very binary, very black and white. Don't lie, tell the truth, always be nice to everybody, don't hit, don't steal, all these things. They were laid out very clearly before us, and it's clear to see that these things that we were taught as children bring us up and bring us to where we are now, and they lead us to be the adults that we become, which is great. As we grow older, things are not so black and white. Of course, there's the ever-present hurting people is bad, and stealing is bad, and make sure that you love everybody unconditionally, and sharing is caring, and all these things, golden rule type stuff. But we get into philosophical issues. Should I do this? What could happen if I do this? Why shouldn't I do this? Things of that nature. And it leads into dilemmas like one I've come across recently, in which logic has gotten in the way of emotion. Of course, these things mix like oil and water. I just wish it weren't so. Love, in particular, is known to be a tricky emotion, and that's the emotion which has brought me to the revelation that caused me to make this video. Well, you could say love, or you could say I'm in high school and I've got a crush. Yes, teenage boy with a crush, we've all been there unless you are not in high school yet, or a woman over the age of 16. And it's a hormonal stage, in life, so there's a lot of emotions going around. But you honestly can't ignore when you see somebody who just so fundamentally is good. Goodness is something missing in my high school, what with drugs and rumors and sex and the like. And when you find a person who's so basically magnificent, somebody who's so powerfully good that you just can't ignore it, somebody who always puts a smile on your face, it's really difficult to let go. And I understand that not everybody that you think of in this way needs to be a romantic interest. But, for me, a teenage boy, it's kind of unavoidable. And I wish it weren't, because I really don't. And here's where the logic comes in. See? Here's where we're going. There would be nothing wrong with me asking this girl out, or even expressing my romantic interest. We're of a similar age, we have similar interests, we've met before, we've known each other for 4 years now, must be. And while she's changed, and I've changed, we've ended up in the same place. We're spending a lot of time together, working on something, with a whole bunch of other people, but there are specific parts which she and I have to work on very closely with. And being so close to her when we're not working, it's difficult to miss the quirky little things that make her great. I'm not going to share her name for obvious reasons, but I would like to explain why I've made this video. This video basically stems from all I've been thinking about her lately. Of course, the question is, if she's so great, why don't you just ask her out? I'll tell you why. I don't know. It's an interesting mix of social politics and fundamental logic that prevents me from doing something so rash. There is, of course, the fact that my ex-girlfriend counts her among her closest circle of friends. This, of course, would be a problem due to the fact that, stereotypically, hatred of one man is spread throughout an entire female friend group. One can only hope that she doesn't deeply despise me and use a facade every time we speak. That, and the fact that my current crush counts my ex-girlfriend among her closest friends as well, would lead to an interesting cocktail of deference. That is, attempting not to offend somebody. Also, there's the fact that she is so friendly, I wouldn't want her to think that I was misconstruing her friendliness as romantic advances. Why must logic be so difficult? Of course, a rash act under the wrong circumstances could lead to the dissolution of what little relationship we already have. That's something I would prefer to avoid. We're rather friendly, and she's a joy to be around. While I do hold very close to my heart the intelligence that I credit myself with having, I sometimes wish that, on a matter of instinct, I could perform an action and have everything turn out exactly as I hope it will. I would, of course, be foolish to ignore the possibility that everything could go catastrophically wrong. And while that is somewhat of a pessimistic view on things, I like to think of it as caution, even though sometimes overcaution can be a problem. I suppose that my point here would be that it's important, when you have the motivation to do something. To ask out a girl to make a YouTube video with no script. Make sure that for every calculation your brain makes, you throw in an ounce of feeling from your heart. Because to be guided entirely by one side of the brain or the other is no way to live. It's very important to understand when you should apply both sides of your brain and when one may take more hold. Sorry if it got a bit rambly and personal, but I don't write scripts to these things, so I wasn't expecting too much myself. I hope you weren't. If you made it all the way to the end of this video, thank you very much. It's kind of an achievement that you found this video in the first place. I hope you don't mind the mediocre lighting, the bad wallpaper, and the poor editing, but it really means a lot to me that you would take the time out to watch this video and listen to what I have to say. So I wish you luck in whatever you pursue, and I hope to speak to you again soon.